sippin', I'm 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 sippin'.
Sippin', I'm sippin', I'm sippin', I'm sippin', I'm sippin', I'm sippin', I'm sippin'.
This is Sippin' with Sammie. I am Sippin' with Sammie, Sam Malone, Barstool, Rug. If you ain't sippin' with Sammie, you ain't sippin' right. Get your fucking life together. And I got Saf with me.
I'm in the building. Yo, yo.
and we are here at the legendary, the Barbary.
Yes.
In Philadelphia. Parallel to the Fillmore, down the street from Rivers Casino, which they just changed the name of from Sugar House. If y'all not familiar, that's now called Rivers. And we got the owner with us. Introduce yourself to the people, bro.
All right, which camera am I looking at? Does it matter?
Look straight.
All right, cool. I'm Ravi. I bought the Barbary in the beginning of February of 2019. And I like to dance and have fun.
Wow, word. Sound like the right person to catch this lease.
Really well.
Right? It's funny because everybody in this that's affiliated with Sippin' with Sammie podcast kind of has a different relationship with the Barbary. From E having people that throw certain kind of events, and security here was his people, and K had a lot of people that did things here. Me too. Saf had experiences here, but they all been different because this is one of those places where eclectic vibes come to. You know what I mean? So it's like she might have went to one type of event, he might have went to another type of event. Then the next time they came, they was at the opposite kinds of events. But it's always seemed to be a good time, a good venue that had good bones to it. Room for improvement, but the energy was always good.
Sure.
The stages always felt good. You know what I mean? The music was always perfect. So, like, was that one of the reasons that you wanted to get into the Barbary, or was it just an available venue space for you? Was it the history involved with it too? Excuse me.
If I'm being completely honest, the most enticing thing about buying the Barbary was first and foremost the fact that the property was for sale.
Always a good thing.
You know, just like from a dollars and cents standpoint in nightlife, I've seen way too many venues go under because they have to make their rent every single month. And yeah, like I have a mortgage to pay, but my bank is a lot more lenient than a landlord. And it's, you know, a long-term investment.
Sure.
Right.
When I went on my search to buy a venue in Philly, I found another place in Center City, and the guy wanted me to rent the space, rent the liquor license, and pay him a flat fee to buy his business.
Oh, wow.
And it was like ridiculous. And when I found the Barbary, I didn't really know much about the Barbary, and I'd lived in Philly I came here in February of 2014.
Okay.
And I don't even think I'd heard of the Barbary until maybe 2018. And when I started looking into it, I was like, whoa, like this is the nightlife I like.
Right.
No frills. First and foremost. No arrogance or douchebaggery.
Say that.
Super important. No dress code. Incredibly important to me. Like, I like to put on my sneakers and dance. And I've been turned away from so many venues over the years because I didn't have shoes on, or like a collared shirt with like buttons. And I'm like, I used to actually, when I lived in New York, I used to have to drive around with shoes and a button down in the back of the car.
Yeah, we went through that.
Just in case they told me no.
Yep.
I used to have an extra outfit.
Yeah, I think that's fucking stupid.
Yep.
So, I love the bounce. The bounce is, you know what's awesome about the bounce?
You want a microphone?
You know what's awesome about the bounce and the shakedown is those are the two parties who have been running the longest at the Barbary.
Yep.
I think each one is like literally as long as it's like been going in its like current iteration, which is like 12 years. So those guys have all been invaluable. Bo, Emil, Rob, and Will.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Those four guys have been able to provide me like the most
consistency,
you know, and not only that, but insight into the how the place has evolved. Because I'll tell you one thing, like when I bought this place, I went to everybody and I said, I'm the new guy, like treat me like your coworker. I hate when people call me boss. I have tons of ideas, and if you think an idea is stupid, like tell me. If I have an idea and you already tried it and it didn't work, tell me. I hate like I hate club owners who think that their ideas are the best. So,
a lot of times the best ideas to me for bars and clubs come from the patrons of bars and clubs. Because if you run a club or a bar, you probably don't go to everybody else's.
Right.
But if you go to bars and clubs, you go to all of them. You go to a lot of them. You go to certain different kind of spots for different moods and things like that. And you know what those bars have done.
yeah, I think that patrons always have really good ideas.
Oh yeah, the patrons. You're right.
Except when it's like, yo, you should put a shark tank in the floor. And I'm like, okay, dude.
That
like,
was my point. But we've seen, like, a lot of times, speaking as myself because I am Barstool, we've seen bars have slow, every bar has their slower nights if they're open during the whole week, 5, 6, 7 days a week. And we've seen what certain spots in certain areas have done that has worked.
Right.
And we've seen what they've done that we hated. And we've seen things like that. So to your point of where you said you might have an idea and they might have tried it already, it might be a way to tweak it to make it a little better, but you also have that experience of them already trying it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's kind of the same as what you're doing. You gauge it based on the people that have been there. But a lot of the times, owners don't do that. They always want to come in because they have this fancy, spectacular idea, and they want it to be on that level. But like you said, they got bills to pay, and the crowd doesn't hold up because that high-stakes crowd always looking for the next new hottest place.
Correct.
Like the window on those clubs are very small.
Correct.
It's very small. You have to do a
100%.
lot of tricks. You have to pay a lot of talent to maintain those crowds.
Yeah. I have a question. So, what made you want to even enter the market? Like, how did you get interested in being a club? I think it's a really exciting idea. How did you even get interested in it?
Okay. So I guess I'll just tell the
You
story.
seem really jovial. Like, you seem like a real fun type of guy. Like,
He likes to dance.
I can tell.
So, okay, it's like this. In another life, I was a hustler that could rap good, and I was like kind of decent at rapping. And I met with like Ultra Records in New York, and my friend hooked it up. And the guy was like, you know what? Like, I see like where you could have a brand. And he was like, go make some videos, make a new album, do all this stuff, and we'll see what happens. So I moved. I grew up in Syracuse.
Okay.
So I moved from upstate New York to Manhattan. This is 14 years ago now. And all my friends from college were from like Manhattan and North Jersey and Long Island. And they were all like club kids. And they were like, yo, cool, you like to rap, awesome. Come to this club with us and eat this pill and come listen to dance music. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, it was September 2006, I think September 13th. And I'm like on this dance floor and I'm like, feeling it. And the music's going and I'm like, fuck rap, I want to do this. And
You had your epiphany. That was your aha moment.
and I ended up moving to DC to finish college because being a hustler that could rap good landed me in places that weren't so good.
Right.
So I like stopped drinking, I stopped smoking, I stopped being a crazy man, and I went to college in DC. And it's funny because I'm actually wearing the shirt right now.
Oh, dope.
There was this promoter in DC called Glow. They'd been booking the world's biggest DJs since 1999.
Thanks.
okay.
And they booked all my favorite DJs. It was one of the reasons I actually wanted to go to DC for college. And I like started going to their parties, used any connection I had to meet the guys who ran the place, got a job as an intern, and my internship started the same time that Facebook launched business pages.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so they were like, hey, Facebook made this new business page thing, like, learn it. So I learned it, and then I was like, can I have a video camera? I want to interview DJs. Hey, graphic designer, can you teach me some Photoshop tricks? I downloaded it, and I just started like doing more. Then they let me like have a club night, and I was like doing some web stuff, doing DJ stuff, fan interaction. Then I moved back to New York. I worked for a company. I started working with some DJs, and then the next thing I knew, I met this club owner from Philly at a festival in Mexico, and he was like, I need a marketing guy. Do you know anybody? And I was like, I'll commute. And then I ended up moving here to work for a club group. And then I was like, how do I say this? I was displeased with the way things were going, and I felt that I could do a better job. So I went and looked for a club to buy, and I did some fundraising and bought a club. And it's like the to make a long story short, I own a club because I just every day in my career, I just tried to grow, evolve, and do more and do more and do more, and that's just where the path led me.
That's an amazing lesson in itself, right there. You really, the way you summed it up was impressive, because I think that's a lesson that a lot of people need to really pay attention to, is the fact that you said just through it all, you just kept at it, right? You just kept making sure that whatever it was, little or lot, whatever it was, you just kept at what your goal and your dream was. And now you're a club owner, right? Of an amazing establishment with a historical background.
Absolutely.
And you own it. So that's dope. That's definitely
no,
dope.
that's ill.
Yeah,
but even before that, there was a lesson in.
It was a lot of lessons to that.
In how you live life, because everything you said was basically you just doing what you wanted to do and enjoying your life. You said I was a hustler that could rap well, so you chased it. You said my friends was over here, said get a pill, get on this dance floor. You was like, oh, this the shit I want to do. So you stuck with that. And then you went to DC because you liked the DJ. You just did what you wanted and wind up you are where you're supposed to be because of that. You see what I'm saying? And that makes me excited for you to have a space, because it's somebody that thinks like that is rare.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. It's my whole mantra.
Takes a lot of balls.
Thank you.
Right.
My coworkers they break my balls over this. My whole mantra is constant growth. Right. That's my thing. Yeah. I think every day, as long as I do something better than I did yesterday, or grow a little more from yesterday, or improve just a little more, as long as I take a step forward every day, I'm on the right track. And sometimes I go backwards, but as long as I can find a way to get back forward, I don't know where I'm gonna go. I've had people ask me, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I think that's fucking stupid. I think that the only people who can have a legitimate 5-year plan are I'm a freshman in high school. My 5-year plan is I'm going to be in college. I'm a freshman in college. My 5-year plan is I'm going to be starting my job. Or I'm going to be in law school. I'm going to be in med school, blah, blah, blah. Education, the education system is easy to have a 5-year plan. Or
I think in corporate America, a lot of the times it exists because people know how long on average it would take to make partner or to level up in some kind of way, and they'll set that goal. But I mean, the thing is, a 5-year goal, or you should have multiple goals. You should just have a checklist of things you're trying to knock off.
Sure.
But that's not a bad thing, but to lock yourself into a time space is dangerous.
Yes.
It's very dangerous.
Totally.
It's very dangerous because, just think about college as the example that you used. Everybody says in 5 years, I'm going to be starting my job. Well, 75% of y'all ain't going to graduate in 4 years.
It took me 10.
See what I'm still ain't graduated yet. So it's when you think about it that way, the average for graduating is 5 to 6 years. So that's already putting yourself under unnecessary pressure when you go through enough when midterms and finals hit. When you go through enough in between semesters, when you're trying to figure out how you're going to scrounge up enough money to be comfortable going back to school, and if you'll be able to work a job and take a full load of classes. It's a lot that comes into play, because one thing I say about college is the real life hits when you get to college. You're responsible for everything. If anybody is sick or dies in your family or something, you got to hold that down. You're an adult at that point. So anything can happen, and you'll have to pull out for a semester or a year and work or do whatever, or go take care of somebody. So you can't really, that's a lot of pressure I think people put on themselves when they just lock into a certain amount of time for something they don't control. You can't control that.
Yeah, I got kicked out of my first college after 3 months.
Having fun?
Too much.
He just has fun.
It's not hard to believe.
I can't wait till we reopen
my
this
first 6 years of college were not academic.
But they were probably some of the best
My first couple wasn't.
Made a lot of friends.
My first couple wasn't. I had a ball.
So let me ask you this, because it's something that I talk a lot about, is or we actually talk a lot about, especially on the podcast. It's about establishing relationships and maintaining relationships. So one thing you just said is that you made a lot of friends. Are some of the friends that you made during that time when you weren't even focused necessarily on academics, are you still in touch with them? Have they been beneficial in any kind of way, professionally or personally? Do you maintain any of those relationships still? And was it important?
From the first 6 years of college where I dicked around but created a great network. I have lots of great friends still. I have friends that I probably haven't spoken to in 4 or 5 years that I could call right now and be like, I need some ridiculous favor. I need you to do some ridiculous solid, like come get my back, and they will. Professionally, I would say that I haven't like tapped into the professional side of my social network that I made then, but I know it's there.
I was thinking that.
And I know that the majority of people would be very receptive. And it's crazy because like, this is when I went to college at Syracuse. A lot of those people like work for major record labels. They are graphic designers that have really big clients. You know, some of them are like, I have a friend that I went to college with that is now like a very big real estate developer. Okay. Like I know that if I have an opportunity in Philadelphia for something at some point and I come correct with like a plan and like this, you know, business plan, strengths, opportunities, whatever. And I just was like, yo, dude, like haven't talked to you in 12 years, but I got this awesome opportunity.
Right.
You'd be on board.
Because I didn't burn any of the bridges.
Exactly. So that's what I was getting to. So although you don't speak to these people every day or even on a biannual basis or however you want to say it, I think establishing a relationship is key, but also not burning your bridges and maintaining it. So maintaining it doesn't have to be through communication or constant communication. It's about the solids that you do, the impression that you leave, the person that you are. Again, we were speaking off camera before we even exactly. I was about to get to having respect. We go way back to since we were like second grade, and he is a very personal friend of mine who knows more than probably a lot of people, but the only reason that he knows so much is because I respect his values, I respect the person that he is, and I know that he's a real friend. So I just think that I never got an all from him. Jeez, Robbie,
that was nice.
Robbie got us working on you. You got me. You got the all. I never got an all.
That was nice. That felt
but
good.
I just say that to say that I think that maintaining those relationships are important, and it doesn't have to be on a constant communication. You never burned a bridge, and I think that says a lot. So just wanted to ask how those two could have meshed, or how your experience with that was.
But like, I think it's important. Like, I think that was very important that y'all both just hit on the fact that even though they're there, you ain't always gotta touch up on it and check up on it and tell somebody, yo, we about to do this, we about to do that. Come to them when you ready. Come to them correct.
Exactly.
And let the respect come from both sides, and I think that's dope. That's ill. I like it.
I think also like, I think that if I see people succeeding like on social media or LinkedIn or like whatever, if I see people succeeding, then I would assume that they see me succeeding like in the same way. So you know, they know, I haven't talked to this guy in like 10 years, but like I see on social media, like this constant growth.
That's my point.
So
that I always,
you know,
make.
it's like if you carry yourself and it's like you are constantly establishing new heights, then people will be willing to like grow with you.
One piece of advice that I always give artists is to not take everything so personally, because sometimes, you know, you'll say, yo, we're going to do such and such, and we might not get around to it right away like we plan to, but through social media you can see that this person's working, they're busy, they're doing other things, and right now the stars or whatever is not lining up the way it's supposed to be, but it always happens when it's supposed to. But if you start burning bridges or turning people away or turning your back on people because they didn't hit that exact mark for you, and they have a million other things going on, because you know you're an entrepreneur, you're somebody that likes to have fun, you're somebody that's close to your friends, it's a lot of hats to wear, it's a whole lot of stuff to hit, and every time you think you got your deadlines lined up, you bump into somebody, you set up another meeting. You know what I mean? And it's an ongoing thing. So like, I always tell people, don't take it so personal. See what they're doing. Respect the fact that they're doing it. Salute them. Support them on what they're doing, and let them know that you're still here when they need you, and when you know, when it's time to get that work done. I think that's important.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have gotten mad at me because like, oh, I can't, can I hit you up? I want to talk about whatever. Like, I want to talk about a party, or I want to do this, or I want to do this. And I'm like, cool, here, like, let's do it this time. And then I hit them up and I'm like, shit, I can't do it. This other thing came up. And it's like, things are always getting pushed back. Things are always getting mixed up. And like, it's not on purpose.
That's not intentional. And it's not even
like,
from being disorganized.
Right.
You got to prioritize sometimes too.
Exactly.
Some things have to be talked about now. Some things I could talk to you about tomorrow and in 2 days.
Correct. You know, if like L&I hits me up and they're like, we're coming to inspect you on this day. Like, sorry,
you have
DJ
a sense of
meeting.
urgency
Like,
for that.
I can't.
Absolutely.
I have to, meet with the fire inspector because he wants to look at my electrical room.
And you
My
gotta set a
electrical room is
6-hour
clear, fire
window to do it.
inspector.
And you got to set a 6-hour window for them to come by because you don't know exactly when they come and
how long they're going to be here.
You don't. It's very hard. It's very hard.
It's like Comcast. It's like, wait,
Don't
don't get me started on Comcast. I just switched to Verizon.
I love it.
No, man.
I love it.
But I do appreciate that most of the guests that we talk to, all that are successful in business, that are entrepreneurs, that are pushing the envelope and trying bigger and better things, all rely on the same theories, the same processes, and things like that. And we have the same headaches a lot of the time. But the fact that, like I said, you do in your life, you love what you're doing, it makes it less of a headache. It's
Most
just
of
the
the time.
burden of trying to, you don't want to piss anybody off, and at the same time, you don't want to be at anybody's mercy either because you have business to run. So that's the weirdest balance a lot of the times when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's hard. I piss a lot of people off. But I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what it is, to be honest, is like, I have a big ego, right? And I can be like arrogant sometimes, and I can be cocky, but
You're not alone up here when there's someone else.
but I admit
Like
it.
you.
I will like wholeheartedly admit it all the time.
I don't know who else. I mean, it's not me. And Ravi's already said that he is, has a huge ego. So,
This is that second grade like knowledge right here.
Listen, I'm just saying.
But I mean, shit, my ego come from a lot of the places yours probably come from. I'm a pretty good rapper, hustler. I've been able to do a lot of things in different spaces because I chose to. And I'm arrogant, but I think most of it is just confidence. Like, I know what I am, I know what I'm worth, I know what I'm trying to do, and I don't like people talking to me a certain kind of way. I don't like being handled a certain kind of way. And I don't handle people that way. You know what I mean? But I will
Most of the time.
Yeah, I'll flip. I'll flip.
You know what's crazy is when you came in today, you were so quiet, and like now we're sitting here, and I'm like, oh man, this guy's got like tons to say.
Well, what happens?
He's so eloquent and like he's like focused. I'm like, damn.
Well, what happens a lot of the times is when we start talking before the interview, you wind up doing the damn interview.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
You are right.
And y'all actually did me a favor because you and Kay going back and forth discussing what was going on actually gave me insight enough that I didn't have to ask you anything. And y'all were moving around setting stuff up. So I know I know a few people that when they setting stuff up, if you talk to them, they get aggravated. So I leave them alone. When music and entertainment is always somebody setting stuff up.
Sure.
And some of them don't know how to multitask with you talking to them.
Sure.
So I just fell back.
Or don't want
But I'm
you
a
to.
talker.
That's pretty good, actually.
Or just don't want you to.
That's pretty good.
It's the truth.
Good like technique.
E's homegirls named me Chatter one night. And it was crazy because it was a night we was doing good deeds all day. We got drunk as fuck. And I was ram on. And I had a ball. Then I threw up.
I never saw you or even heard of you throwing
all in the living room.
up.
It was a bad
Jeez.
show. I had a ball though. I had a great time. But I got a nickname from that night. It's true.
I got a most talkative
Yeah.
in our yearbook.
I believe that.
I was most huggable.
Most huggable.
That is so funny. That is so funny. I can see that.
Yo.
You just look like you want to give out hugs. Like you just look like you're so happy and fun all the time. Do you get mad?
Do I get mad?
Yes.
Ask any of my friends. Yes.
That's crazy. I don't want to be disrespectful, but to me, he comes off like from appearance, you look like you're a relative of Joel Ortiz or a Gotti.
Say it again one more time.
You look like you're related to either Joel Ortiz
or Gotti?
or the Gottis. Chris Gotti and Irv Gotti, you know?
Yeah. I've had people say that I look like
You've heard that
Gotti.
before?
I get the Irv Gotti.
100% I've heard that before.
Irv Gotti.
I've totally heard that.
But
Yeah.
Irv
but it's the more
Irv is
jovial
bubbly
side.
too, though. He
Yeah,
has a
he
he has a
does.
happy personality with
He
a
does, he
disposition
does,
that
he
gets
does.
dark too.
until you piss them off.
Well,
No, I'll
I
tell you
think
what.
every man should have that.
I think every person has that.
Yeah,
I do.
you can't just everything can't be carried one way.
Yeah.
No,
That's just not life.
Here's where I get mad. I get mad when I get frustrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I get frustrated, it's because I've failed to accept that I can't control
Yes.
the world.
Absolutely.
So so I do get mad
I agree.
often, and I have a real shitty temper. But like
too.
I always try and like unfortunately sometimes it's after the fact, and I have to go apologize to somebody. But it's like whenever I do get mad, it's either frustration over lack of my inability to control the world, or it's ultimately like fear-based. Like I'm mad that someone didn't do something that I needed done because I'm scared that if this thing doesn't get done, like I'm gonna be like penalized or hurt.
right.
You know what I mean? So
Reap the consequence of whatever.
Well, shit.
yeah, the worst part is I know all these things, but I still get mad. But
Well,
I
that's
still
the-
let
I mean-
them take over.
But
Man,
a lot of those are
listen.
relatable because that's me as well, and I think that's probably. I mean, I don't know if it's a lot of people. I know it's me for sure.
That's me.
It's hard for me to not be able to understand I can't control everything, and also I'm even a little deeper. I just get frustrated at stupidity. So to realize that everybody's not on the level as you, or doesn't think as quickly as you, or
Yeah,
don't know
I'm
the
not-
things you know, that really, really burns me up. So
We have a mutual friend that told me that about me. She was like, you don't have any patience for people being slow at all. Like, no patience for somebody not getting it. And it's just like, I feel like I explained it so well, though.
you're right. You expect I had to get rid of the expectation. I have
Yeah.
I have a
I'm working on my
tremendous
patience.
expectation,
COVID has been helping me with my
lucky
patience.
you.
It has been, because I feel like right now when everything is fucked up, you have to be more patient. Like everybody has to be more patient because everybody's displaced, disheveled. Nobody's thinking straight. This shit. I seen people on the news standing 6 feet apart to get on the bus. On
So you're about
SEPTA.
to be less than 6
Do
feet
you-
apart.
But do
when
you
you're on the
know?
bus. Do you understand that though?
Remember getting on SEPTA and you used to have to stop people from knocking the old lady onto the bus?
Yes.
Like, look at God. But anyway,
I just want to note that Ravi and I have said things in sync. I've just already noticed two things.
Yeah,
it was
twice.
short and yes, and
Yeah.
I'm like, already like we just
maybe y'all should be my hype man. I give y'all some microphones on stage. Y'all can do my ad libs. Y'all don't even have to rehearse. Y'all ain't gotta rehearse my ad libs. Y'all can just spit them out. But no, we can laugh at me for a second because recently I had a situation where my temper, my frustration, and the lack of control went crazy for me, and I never felt like this before. Right? So shout out to Ant. He had the father of your son's bike ride in Maryland. So I go out there. I got my electric bike and shit. I'm like, I'm going to just ride around and fool off. I ain't riding with them. I'm chilling. You know what I mean? He had an extra bike. A mountain bike. It's not really a road bike, but it's a mountain bike. So I'm like, all right, I'll support. I'll ride.
Did you?
I haven't done anything athletic, bro, in eons. Not to mention I'm 3 years removed from knee surgery when I definitely didn't do anything since then. Except therapy. You know what I'm saying? So I hop on the bike and we take off. The picture looked great before we left.
It did.
It looked great. We
The
got
after
more.
picture looked good too.
We got more. We got flying V's and all types of shit. It's beautiful. So I'm riding and the guy pulled up next to me and I said, yo, how far we went? He said, it's 11 miles, bro. I said, yeah.
But
how far did
we-
we go? He said, that's about 2.5. I'm like, I thought we was about halfway done. So at that point, according to my entourage, I should have turned around. But I didn't. Because I'm a G. And I'm a rider. And I'm supporting. And there's fat guys out here.
And you should have been on the
And I'm
damn
not
electric
no
bike.
big dude.
You
And
should have taken the electric bike.
I should have, but I didn't. My dumb ass ain't even charged it all the way up, so I couldn't rely on it to make it the whole joint. So I just said, fuck it. But anyway, so I'm riding, and I'm thinking, like, as long as I can see somebody to know where the trail is and shit, I'm cool. So you got dudes with lime green socks on. I'm stay with the lime green socks. I can see him. I'm good. Socks disappear. Then my man wife passes me. Then she's in front of me. So I'm looking at her ride. I'm like, all right, cool. Then she was about to go the wrong way. I tell her to go the right way. Cool. Saved her life. Eventually, there's nobody in front of me. And I'm pushing the bike up the hill. I'm on like mile 10. I'm pushing the bike up the hill. I get to the top. I'm like, all right, I'm going to hop on. I'm going to ride down and be cool. the whole sky opened the fuck up. Boom. I mean, so I'm on the bike, going down the joint. I try to put the glasses on, they ain't help. I can't see shit. So then I get to this point where it's like 2 different ways you can go on the trail. So I pick right, fuck it, I don't know no better. I wind up by BWI Airport, soaking wet. My clothes is heavy, the bike is heavy.
Did you have your phone?
I pulls my phone out to call to pick me up because my car is
Somewhere the fuck
half a mile from where I'm at. So come get me and my shit. Go to use the phone soaking wet, finger soaking wet. I can't unlock my fucking screen. So I pull this joint, right?
Yes.
Still not working. Cool. So now I'm panicking.
I'm glad I didn't call
have
you
never
that
been.
day.
The only time I've had less control is being in the cell. And in that point, I still knew where I was at.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I don't feel like it's ever been a time in my life that I felt more out of control than now. So I'm like, yo, somebody help. Because in my head, at least let me get in your car so I can unlock my phone.
Right.
I could dry it, I can unlock it, I can make my phone call. You can leave me out this bitch, but I know somebody coming, I'll be better off. Motherfuckers is riding by in trucks, station wagons that I could have put the bike in, all type of shit.
It's probably all open lane, no trees. You can't even get shelter
it's not
under
a tree because I'm by the airport.
That's what I'm saying.
Bushes.
That's what I'm saying.
And the bushes ain't doing me nothing. I tried it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, cool. So I'm looking at all these black men ride by me. And I'm like, bro, Juneteenth was yesterday. Like, y'all ain't gonna even see if I'm cool. Like, that's crazy. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So luckily,
This is just the other day?
it's Saturday. So what happens is I decide, fuck it. I'm gonna just put this bike in front of the fucking lane, and whoever's coming gotta stop and talk to me. You see what I'm saying? Like, we gonna stand here, you're not running through me. So I went to go do it, and this girl in this little tiny BMW pulled up with orange hair. It was like I couldn't miss her. She had an orange shirt and orange hair. I'm like, what's up? I can't get on my phone. She like, well, I mean, where are you going? I'm like, I'm trying to get back to the school. It's not far, whatever. She like, well, you think your bike will fit? I was like, I'll leave this bitch. Like, I'll put it by the bush. Hopefully it be here. I'll come back and get my man bike later. Like, I'm not dying.
If not,
out
I will buy it.
Not about to drown for this bike. So then she like, well, try the trunk. So I'm like, there's no way this bike fitting in your fucking trunk.
If it.
So I threw the first half in enough to close the trunk on the handlebars and get the front tire hanging out. We good. I get in the car. She blasting gospel. Look at God.
Wow.
So I get back.
Whoa.
I get back to the site. Everybody's back. All the kids is back. The women is back. I'm the last one. Everybody looking at me getting out the Beamer like, smart. I see you. Word. I'm like, nigga, she just saved my life.
Right.
She just saved my fuck. She wouldn't take Cash App or nothing. I was trying to give her some money because I'm like, nigga, I was out there about to go crazy.
That is so decent.
I literally was going crazy in my head and kept telling myself, you can't do this. You cannot. You know yourself too well. Don't do it.
That is so decent.
But it was crazy. But look at God.
Gives you faith, right?
Absolutely.
In the world.
There's some good people out here. But she said, I just dropped a friend off at the airport. I'm like, oh, you got 2 good D's in the day. I had to help her with a defrost because we got on the highway, couldn't find shit. It got foggy in there. It was crazy out there.
She was young?
Probably around our age, a little younger.
Oh,
possibly.
that's decent though. Like, there's some real good people.
She wasn't young and she wasn't older than us. I didn't like get in her business. I was trying to leave her alone because like my sister, girlfriend, cousin picking up some strange guy in the storm.
Right.
Like, I don't know if I told my man, he was like, man, she could have saved me and I'd have told her never do that shit again. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you got to be careful, but I appreciated the fuck out of her.
For her that
She wouldn't take a motherfucking thing. I'm like, you sure? Like, I got Cash App. Like, you just give it to me. Write it down or something. When I'm phone dry up, I can say you something. She wouldn't take shit.
Oh,
but I almost
decent,
went crazy in front of BWI
I bet you did.
a couple days ago. It was real. I'm going to sip to that. Y'all go ahead and talk.
Listen, I'm gonna sip to that for you because that was an amazing like story.
But I'm proud of myself because me, the guy that thought there's no way I'm doing more than 5 for real. I got about $10.50 in before hell broke loose. Imagine I was dead at about $10.
Right.
That half was least struggle. But I almost made it.
That's dope. That's a real dope story. I would have never even expected, like you said, it was Juneteenth and all that. But let's be real.
The
days and times we live in, you would think,
I don't
right?
even know if I would have pulled over.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I couldn't even be mad at.
That's
like,
what
I
I'm
kept telling
saying.
myself shit like that. Like, would you have stopped?
That's what I'm saying.
Look like you. I don't
think-
know.
But more people look like you down there than anywhere else.
No, absolutely.
I mean, my whole life, my mom said, "Don't ever stop and pick up anyone ever on the side of the street."
Right.
Period. No matter what.
Right. No
And-
ifs,
but
ands,
I
or
had
buts
to
about
look
it.
pitiful.
Yeah.
I had to look pitiful. It had to have been a great. But you know what's funny? The whole ride. And this
It's
is
kind of fucked up.
This the most ironic thing in the world. The whole ride, the way I made it that far was keep pedaling, keep pedaling. Yo, you all right? Go at your own pace. It's cool. You've been through worse. Just thug it out. You had practices and workouts where y'all ain't touched a fucking basketball. Just keep going. And I just gave myself every fucking pep talk in the world.
In my mind, I hear Nemo. I hear
Until
Dory.
couldn't see.
I hear Dory. Focus,
And
focus,
once I
focus,
couldn't
focus.
see, there's no more pep talk.
Hey, bro, I hear Dory. You like, focus, 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 focus.
Focus,
Just
focus,
keep
focus,
swimming.
focus.
Just keep swimming.
I mean,
Just
but
keep
you know-
riding. Just keep
And that's what we
riding.
were talking about and what he alluded to. Like, when you know yourself, you tell yourself these things. You can't always control these things, but you know how, you know your
Absolutely.
steps. Like, what do you say on
Absolutely.
Family Matters? 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Like, you go through your little process to come down.
But you know what? I'm my greatest coach because you know I'm also like my biggest critic. Sometimes
Biggest
it's hard
fan?
for us to receive. I'm not my biggest fan. You know.
I know
that.
I am.
I'm definitely not
I'm
my
Sasha's
biggest
biggest
fan,
fan.
at all. Oh, thank you, bro. You are. But no, seriously, like. No, but seriously, I'm my hardest critic. So I push myself really hard a lot of times. When I tell people some of the things that I'm thinking or my ideas, they're like, "Why are you so rough on yourself?" Because I know I'm not gonna be able to take it from you, but I can take it from me. You know what I mean? I can talk shit to myself. You can't talk shit to me. But I can talk shit to me. You understand? So, like, I just think that that's what keeps me pushing. That's my
I think
Dory
that's
moment.
how I know that Saf be meaning what she say about her respect for me is because she actually lets me fucking go at her. And she takes light shit that I say and I talk to her a week later and she'll be like, remember that word you said? I've been thinking about that all week and I've been working on that. Like, one day it was accountability.
It was.
And she was too accountable.
Too accountable.
She was late on the deadline for the gig, one of her jobs, so she can't even get in trouble because she got 8 of them. But she was late on the deadline for a gig, and she had a conference call because you know it's COVID, everybody's doing conference calls and Zooms and some shit. And she's like, "I would be accountable and just come right out and tell them I don't got it."
I did.
That's good. That's actually great.
She told him she ain't got it. He said, "Oh yeah, you know what? You did have that. Don't worry about it. Just try to get it to me next week or the week after."
And you know what else he said? Don't worry about it because nobody's been doing anything. So I'm beating myself up because I hold myself to the standard, right? If I have
Right.
something that's due, I have expectation. But I'm like, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pussyfoot around it. I said, I opened the meeting like, look, let's address the elephant that's in the room. I said, it might not be a big elephant to you, but it's my elephant. And I don't have the report that's done. Like, listen.
That's how you build respect. That's how you get points because the honesty works. Like, a motherfucker know you ain't had to say shit. You could have stayed on mute the whole time.
Right.
It's true. I think that it's like I'm my own biggest critic, but also, when you're just sort of like open and raw, but more importantly, when you show vulnerability, like just that much vulnerability to people and say, this is what it is, like I'm putting it out there, more often than not, like overwhelmingly more often than not, people are like, that's okay. And they won't like squeeze,
That's be a narcissist or somebody that does that. But other than that,
Yeah,
But it's
Yeah.
crazy.
really one of those things where like people don't even understand the effect that it has on them.
Right.
When you do that. You know what I mean? Like they don't get it. It naturally happens. It breaks guards down, barriers down, walls down, egos. Because a lot of times you're dealing with people that whether they tell you or show or not, they may or may not be intimidated by you. They may dislike the fact that they think that you think that you're some fucking body, which is their problem because that's a perception thing that if they don't know you, they don't know that. But at the same time, like when you're humble and you keep it real and you say I wasn't perfect, you know what I mean? That's where a lot of people fall
Guess
short
what?
at. That's politics, religion. A lot of people fall short because they don't admit that they're not perfect.
both of you
Yeah.
are so right. Guess what happened by the end of that conversation? My director let me know that I was more credentialed than he was, and I never knew that.
See what I'm
Yep.
saying?
And he let me know that I had more credentials, and the way of thinking is that I'm definitely in a role of leadership. Because
Your show of vulnerability, like empowered him to be vulnerable back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now you're, and it's
catch.
probably like so much more of like a synergy, like in your work.
Just
I was talking about this
understand
with a friend the other day that I learned this actually in rehab, in my first rehab, that when you they said when someone says something like, and it actually like it applies to today, but it's like kind of a little too simplistic. But when someone says something offensive to or around me, instead of getting mad or yelling at them, I say like, hey, you know, like when you said this, like I took it like this and it made me feel like this, and like I felt really bad about it, and I know maybe like you weren't trying to be that way, or like maybe you were, whatever, but like this is how I took it and it made me feel bad. And like when you're like that raw and vulnerable, people, it wakes people up. People with a conscience.
I gotta learn that part.
At least, you know.
I gotta learn that part.
Yeah.
Because I already said earlier, my whole thing be, yo, don't fucking talk to me like that.
Right.
Like,
Right.
people don't talk to me like that. And when I say that, I mean that shit. You know what I mean? And I hate to say that because it sounds crazy, but I really be that shocked when certain shit happens that I'm
Believe
like,
me, I know.
I'm not used to this. I don't
Yeah.
get treated like this. I take care of people. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's really hard to do.
It is super hard.
Especially with people that you're not close to, or people like, I'm more likely obviously to do that with a friend or an acquaintance than I am with some random person who says something offensive on the street, and I'm like, hey person, I don't know, when you said this, like it made me feel
Right.
like this as a human being. They could be like, yeah, fuck you, I don't know you. Or they could be like, wow, like what a human emotion to display. It's but I think that's, I don't know, it's something I was just talking to somebody about the other day.
What was
showing
was it a
vulnerability
different
like that.
perspective, or what was the conversation? What did the conversation entail?
The conversation was,
If you don't mind me asking.
no, I'll say it. Okay, so
Young
I'm
Lisa.
so I'm Jewish, right? And I have a friend who loves like making, they're not terrible Jew comments. They're not like bad at all, and I don't take offense to them. And I know this person that I'm very close with says them just to like, you know, break balls and be funny. And
Yeah.
he wouldn't say it, he would never say this thing in casual conversation around people, and he wouldn't say it about anyone else, but he'll like say it to me. And like, I'm not a big fan of it, but it doesn't like hurt my feelings, but it's like not necessarily okay. And I was talking to a different friend of mine about it, and I said, you know, the only way to actually get my homie to not say things like that is to be like, hey man, listen, like we're really good friends, like not to sound like a baby or anything, or like I don't even need to preface it with that. I could just say, listen,
Please don't.
when you say this, you know, when you say this is how it makes me feel. That's it. And I don't like feeling that way. And maybe it's not your fault that I feel that way, but like you don't need to say these things to try and make jokes about, you know, like culture, religion, race, whatever. Like, you know, it's like a form of like lowbrow humor that, you know, doesn't, it's not
It's
like
low hanging fruit.
you
It's
know,
cheap.
and-
But at the end of the day, it might not be their responsibility. I mean, it may not be their fault how you feel, but it's their responsibility to protect you
Sure,
because they're your friend.
sure,
It's their responsibility to emotionally protect you within reason.
sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at that point, it kind of is. It's both.
And if I said that to them, I would, like, they would be like, I know they would be like, shit, like,
Right.
fine. They might break my balls and be like, oh, don't be such a bitch. But then they'd be like, fine, I won't say it anymore. They'd
Right.
get like one last little thing in, but then
Right,
they
right.
wouldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So something
know?
I say a lot
You
is
will see a change,
knowing
I
have
believe.
absolutely.
For sure.
So something I live by, I say a lot is G.I. Joe's. One of his lines is knowing is half the battle, right?
Right.
So I don't even for you. You have to. They don't even may not even know how it really affects you because you've never even told them, right? So they may think that you take it on the
Exactly.
collar the same way that they do, or take it on the chin, right?
Exactly.
So I feel like knowing is half the battle with that one.
Sav
so.
gets her slogan in every pot. She's a professional.
But it all comes back to just being, like showing vulnerability, and, you know, having faith in another human will sort of show that vulnerability back.
Sure, absolutely. I think that's a part of being human, right?
And that's what he said. Like, it's the
Right.
human thing.
Exactly.
Like he said it too. Like,
That's
we're-
kind of like recurring through this
one of the biggest
conversation.
things that's going on this year is we're realizing how equally human we all are. You know what I mean? Things happen. The whole fucking world shut down. things happened, the whole world came outside about it. Now we're realizing that everybody's human for the people that didn't before. But I mean on a real level, like I said before about COVID teaching me patience. It's like now I'm taking consideration for the fact that other people are going through something. Where I did before because I live in Philly and everybody's going through something, but I always looked at it like that. It wasn't extreme. It's like, well, we always going through some shit.
You know, was something that hit me today. Something that hit me, not that it hit me today at all, but
Something you thought about?
something I thought about today.
I love. Can I pause? I love that
Sure.
you both have personals.
Oh yeah.
We smoke.
Yeah. You know, like COVID or not, I just like.
Yeah,
there's a
we've been
benefit
like
from
that
COVID,
pre-COVID.
yeah, see, like everybody stays with the personal.
Yeah.
I like that.
This has been my thing for
yeah.
a while, but go ahead.
No, so something that was really interesting to me was that I saw the struggle that or the race divide all the way as far as Britain, and it's. I want to say that we've all been aware of these things, but particularly with the awareness that we've been going through and the struggle we've been going through here in the U.S. and you know, from the current happenings, it's just interesting to see that it brought light all of the struggles internationally and globally. And how the attention is now being brought to this.
This is the biggest
issue.
uprising ever. The biggest uprising.
Because now in
ever.
Britain, they're talking about the divide there, not only here. First, they started them for saying Black Lives Matter in support of the U.S., but now it's just
Floyd
so...
affected everybody, but then it makes you look like, well, why the hell we not fighting for what the fuck we deserve?
Absolutely.
Because they deserve it as much as we do. I don't give a fuck what country you in, how, what dictatorship, whatever the fuck. Like, humans is humans, people are people. If you going to treat people a certain way, treat everybody that fucking way.
Absolutely.
And let motherfuckers have the choice to be treated as the citizen in the place they pay taxes or put sweat equity into, or let them get the fuck out of it. You know what I mean? Because it's no in between anymore. Like, it's too much information. It's too much access. You can't keep letting people see what's going on everywhere and not giving them a piece of that dream. It's not going to work like that. So if it's going to be like that, then treat everybody the same no matter what it is. If it's fucked up, it's fucked up for everybody. Because we don't got it. You know what I mean? Like a third world country. Like, everybody in that space has to survive a certain way because of the lack thereof. Anything less than that, treat everybody equally. It's the same thing. You see what I'm saying? If y'all got it, then why the fuck isn't it getting spread equally? Why aren't things going across the board? What's going on at the top of these corporations, the top of these governments, these hierarchies? You see what happened when the prince married a half black girl. And I don't want to call her half black because they say she all black no matter what.
Right.
You know what I mean? But she's a biracial girl.
Sure.
Who already, I'm sure, has her own story and tale of identity. And then got trashed over there so much that they moved to Canada and he gave up his seat.
That says a lot.
That said a lot before they ever walked in them streets. You see what I'm saying? You got to think about it. And I saw the Epstein doc.
Right.
Homie in there. Not him, the other one. Drawing. Cutting out. And she lied for him. The queen lied for him. He lied blatantly on TV. They covering up all type of funny shit over there.
Should I watch that? Is it that good?
It's
I mean,
It's
not
informative,
necessarily
right?
good.
I
but
haven't
it's
seen
that,
it.
You know,
yeah, like when you said good, I was like, whoa.
eye-opening. You know.
Yeah, like whatever you think you know, is 20 times worse.
Okay.
So it's like, even when you think like, well, I already know and I really don't want to put myself through it, no, it's still a lot to learn.
Wow.
And what it really shows is how this country operates and what the values of this country is. Like, I don't want to give it away for you, but I know I went into it thinking 5, 8 girls.
Hundreds, huh?
Hundreds. Like, I believe that he wiped out a whole neighborhood.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so like, and that's not his only situations. You see what I'm saying? That
I feel like there's
neighborhood.
probably still people who aren't even,
So-
you know what I mean?
It just shows you what the values is. But I've seen a lot of things. If I can't find it online, but if you could find it, it's a documentary called American Drug War. It's old.
I feel like
And
I've watched it before.
It explains how everything started from why the tiers are the way they are
Yep.
as far as drugs, and how the CIA,
It went all the way back,
FBI,
right?
and the LAPD protected and transported drugs into this country.
Yeah.
And specifically, and it talks about the names of the files and all of that it goes under and all of that
I
shit.
saw that.
They interview CIA agents, they interview LAPD people, and it really makes it where it's like, yo, I'm gonna smoke my weed, kiss my ass when you watch that shit, way before they was legalizing. Because it's like, yo, they literally didn't like Mexico. Blame weed on Mexico. and said weed was real bad because we hate Mexico. It was some weirdo shit. It convinced a whole generation
Sound
of
like
people.
45 talking about it's from China.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that shit sound like.
You want to get into that?
Let's go. We got a few minutes.
The reason that there's a race called white people is because poor whites and poor blacks used to be on the same level. They needed a way to tell poor whites that poor blacks were not their allies. Sure. So they said, why are you getting with them? You're one of us. They're the ones taking your jobs.
Yeah, sure.
It's the same thing. That's why they say injustice to anyone is injustice to everyone. Because
we
if
know
they
that's
can
how
say that about Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, whoever the fuck he calls shithole countries, then it could always come back to us because it was us at one point. It already was us. You see what I'm saying? Like, there was no race. You were from wherever the fuck you was from.
Right.
You was Russian, Polish, Irish,
right?
Wherever
Italian,
the fuck
whatever
you
it
was
was.
Right. It was the like, you still see a lot of people with, like, you know, like, I'm Polish, I'm Irish, I'm Italian, I'm this, I'm that. Like, there's a lot of people, like, you know, have like their pride from where
their nationality,
where their forefathers came from.
Absolutely.
But
they still fall into white.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody allowed to be white. Still say we're all white, you know,
and that puts you over me in this society. You see, over us, but you know what I mean. Like, that puts you over us in this society in ways that a lot of them may or may not recognize. A lot of them appreciate the fact, and they don't want it to change. A lot of them are really fucking in a bubble. Like, I always think about that. Y'all watch The Sopranos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember the Soprano episode?
We're literally living a real life Sopranos episode in Philly.
The Columbus shit. I just said that.
Literally, I said that. I was like, this is literally a television show. Right
but that episode showed how dumb it was.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yes.
So there's an episode where his son is going to the city with his girlfriend to go to his sister's law firm with the office where she was working at, and they're riding through the hood in New York, and they're having a conversation about what they're seeing, and she says, well, why? He says, why would anybody live like this? Trump quote.
I remember that.
He says, I think they're just overwhelmed.
I remember that.
They could not fathom what was going on. They didn't even think it was real. It was something on TV until they rode through it, and even in their discourse trying to figure it out, they had no idea, not a clue. So, like, I don't, and mind you, they're kids, so they had a little control. They had little control over that.
What they see, right?
But at the same time, like, there's a lot of people out here that just don't believe that good people live in bad places. You see what I'm saying? They don't believe that good people struggle, because everybody that they know is doing good.
That's why it's so important for me. You know, I moved out of the city. I live in in a suburban area, but it's so important for me, for my children, to see the urban area. What? The inner city. Because
we know. He might not know, but
he doesn't know, and a lot of people may not know. But I'm just, for my point, it's important for me, for my kids to understand, where they come from, and inner city life, and that everybody doesn't have it. Like, I want my kids to go to a shelter, and I want them to volunteer at certain things. Like, I'm putting them back in the private school. My son went to an all-black private school for kindergarten, but I'm taking them there for summer camp maybe next year, not this year, but just so that they are aware of where they come from, their history, but also that everybody is as privileged as you are. They think that everybody has the things that they have. They don't understand that people don't have the option to have all these options. They don't have those choices, So it's just really important for me.
It's culturing. That's culturing.
Their safety was important as well.
Yeah, it's just opening up the eyes of a child to show them that there are lots of different ways that people live, and that maybe you can grow up with some sort of benefits in your life, like never having to worry about taking things for granted that other people have to struggle for.
Hearing gunshots all night.
Exactly.
You on the list?
Right.
Actually, I'll tell you something.
Homeboys gangbanging in middle school. Like,
this girl I used to date called me the other night. Well, it was a couple weeks ago. I blocked her after the call. But she was crying, and I said, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "There was a gunshot outside my house." And I'm like, "Where do you live?" And she was like, "On East Passyunk," which is like a fairly trendy area these days, and like,
and it was probably
back in the day, like I hung out with a very broad range of people, and like I had enough friends that grew up like in the hood that when she said that to me, I said, wow, now maybe you can identify with what it's like for someone who grows up in the hood. Not saying me, but for anyone.
Sure.
And she like lost it on me, and she was like, you didn't ask if I was okay, boy. And I'm like, well, you literally called and said you heard a gunshot.
Clearly you're okay.
You didn't say you got shot.
Like,
you didn't
you
say your
called
window
me.
got pierced. Nothing.
Exactly. Exactly.
You didn't call 911. You called me, so you're good.
Yeah, and she's like, there's fire trucks here. I'm like, okay, so like people are here. You're
Oh, it
fine.
looks like they're handling it.
And I said like maybe you can sort of realize what it must be like for people who have to listen
no
to that all the
choice.
time.
It's their reality.
And she was fucking pissed at me. Oh my God. She's like, the last time I called you crying, you came and ran to help me. And I'm like, yeah, because we were dating like a year ago. And
And it was a real emergency.
Kind of.
And you was going to get some cheeks. My bad.
And she was like, well, I don't think we should be friends anymore. And I was
Deliver them buns.
I blocked her.
That is funny.
But real shit though, like, but no, that's the funny thing is like empathy.
But
Like, put yourself in somebody
That's what I was
else's
about to
fucking
say.
shoes. Like, and that's all you were trying to tell her was like, damn, that's crazy to you. But imagine someone else that lives in Beirut. Like, I've lived in neighborhoods in this city where all summer, all you hear is popping every night with a kid in the back room that's scared to death, or a kid next door you that's scared, kids on the steps running around when you hear this shit. And then you wake up on the news and a 4-year-old got shot and a 2-year-old got shot down the street around the corner from where the fuck you live at. You don't get to escape that shit except to go to work. And you take that with you because now you're worried about home. You see what I'm saying? Like, empathy is a motherfucker, and that's something that we're starting to see more people be publicly now.
Sure.
A lot of people are faking it because there's a script for it now. I'm an ally is like saying I have black friends.
okay.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
it's a layup.
Sure.
We're in solidarity. We're going to donate X amount of dollars to something. Is a layup
Yeah.
because we know that they figure it out by how much they would lose if they didn't versus how much they can afford to give up without taking a loss.
I saw an interesting counter to that.
Nobody at the top of the board is going to take a pay cut to do it.
So listen, I saw a
And
really.
they might fire people to do it
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
bottom.
So it's a lot that I want to, a couple things about that. But the first thing I want to say is I saw an interesting counter to that. It was just a meme. But it says during these times, instead of being extra nice to your 3 black friends, talk to your
White
300 ignorant white friends. You know what I
and your
mean?
Family members. And I almost put up a post on Facebook yesterday, but y'all know my phone been tripping, and probably because God don't like ugly, and I would have started a war. But I really wanted to ask all my white Facebook friends if they really believe that they don't have any racist friends. Like, comment on this post if you have 0 racist friends.
Well, no one can say that, I don't think.
Well, black people, minorities can't be racist. Racism is a systematic thing.
I mean, like posing that to your white friends. I mean,
Oh yeah, but the amazing thing is they'll defend everything as
Sure.
if it doesn't exist. But
Sure.
you know somebody that hates me that doesn't fucking know me.
Wow.
Or even like, yes, they probably know someone who hates you that doesn't know you. But even like in a lesser subtext, like there could be people that do or act in a racist fashion that's not malicious, but it's still racist.
Bro, I make light skin jokes.
And they know it. Say it again.
I make light skin jokes,
Sure.
but I'm black.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and even in that, there's a part of that that's wrong.
Sure.
This I was about
That's
to
what
get
I'm
to.
You
saying.
see what I'm saying? There's
Yeah.
a part of that that's wrong.
Yeah.
But my light skinned friends, and she's one of them, they get the utmost, like, they get treated like everybody the fuck else. It's just the low hanging fruit that I'm allowed to pick on with them
Sure.
because I still have their same struggle.
Sure.
Regardless, like, the same way that she might go in certain rooms and they might accept her for being lighter, and then she might go in another room with black girls and they might hate her for being light skinned.
Sure.
I'll go in them same rooms and they'll look at me because I'm dark, and I'll go around other people and I blend in, and so there's a balance in our struggles. You see what I'm saying when it comes to that? So that makes it easier. But when you know that you don't have that, you have to be very fucking careful. You can only swing up. You can't swing down. Swinging down is horrible. And people want to say right is right and wrong is wrong. Nobody should do anything. But some people only have swinging. You see what I'm saying? That's their only opportunity. That's why we getting a response now, because motherfuckers swung and broke shit.
Yeah.
Because shit went up.
Yeah.
When it went down.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And it's like now they forced corporations to be a part of the fight because now they're involved. Now your business is a problem.
Yeah.
Now you don't know if you want to build another Target right there because it might not get protected because the police might still be on some fuck shit that gets it burnt down again. So now you have to say something politically, some kind of way. You have to. You don't have a choice. Or we go from 3,000 targets to 500. Simple. Because you only put them places where they'll be protected. And all these districts around this fucking country is showing you that they don't want to protect shit but each other. Nothing but each other. Anytime the whole motherfucker pull out because somebody did something wrong and they in solidarity with him, and then when he comes out of the police station and goes in and out the courthouse, there's hundreds of cops cheering for him for murdering someone.
Crazy.
Knowing that this is on camera, you see the news trucks there, you know everybody got cell phones. That's blatant.
It is blatant.
It's blatant. I feel like we should just reset everything. Start over.
Not to mention,
if you want to be a Klan member and you don't want to be a cop, thank you for showing your fucking hand. You're excused.
Yo, they even went further to
Biggest recruiting class ever.
For the Chauvin, whatever his name is. They actually removed all of the minority officers from the floor where he was. They had to go up.
Yeah, I saw that. I read
2 levels, and if it was an emergency, all hands down, they were told them that they had to not even respond to it.
You know, he was eating Burger King, Taco Bell, Boston Market, all that country ass bullshit they like. He was eating all that in there. You know he was.
That's ridiculous. Can I have a lighter, please? That's
you
just
know that
ridiculous.
play.
It's just ridiculous.
It's like Goodfellas. The motherfuckers was in there eating good. They was comfortable.
Cooking lobster. Still, so, yeah.
Baking their own bread. Getting rolls brought in. Like, it is what it is. There's different things. Like, we always joke about the country club when it comes to prisons. You ain't never knew nobody that went to one of them. They exist. Motherfuckers don't. Epstein's cell wasn't locked.
Oh, I know people that have gone to like the Club Fed.
Yeah. We don't.
Like the camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know none of them.
Yeah, it's because they had enough money to have. I mean, it was like, I have enough money to. I still have to go to jail, but I get to go to
somewhere
Club Fed with
yeah.
it's a camp, with no fences.
I mean, the law is literally based on income.
100%.
When you're letting little white boys that kill 4 people off on affluence. You use affluence as a reason for him not to go to jail because he's so spoiled that he doesn't understand the law and he won't survive.
Yeah.
Are you fucking crazy? Wiped out a whole family.
Right.
Drunk with a stolen car as a teenager. But an adult.
It's like that kid from Stanford.
He's just too. He's been in such a bubble his whole life that the law doesn't apply to him. I wish my kids could be that fucking rich. Now you could just go out killing people for points. It's like a video game. It's like Afterburner or some shit. Like, what are we doing? Like, when you really think about it, the law only applies to poor people, and that's why a lot of this shit got to change. But like I said, make an example out of a couple of these motherfuckers we done caught in this last 3 months, and we'll see some shit shift.
Yeah.
They got to make an example. They made mandatory minimums when they decided they wanted to do something on the war on drugs, right?
Oh man, I just watched 13th last night.
Bro.
And
mandatory minimums.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For the same shit,
right?
That a motherfucker get probation for if they didn't cook it.
Right.
Yeah. Absurd. It's absurd. Mandatory minimums, 3 strikes, and just the accessibility of quality defense attorneys.
You know what the smack in the face is?
Defenders.
Through all that, they turned around and kept telling everybody there was no black men in the motherfucking black household. Right. But you make it where if a woman's on welfare, she can't have a man living with her. Right. You make it where you get to lock up every fucking man you want for 50 cents or more worth of crack. And you want and you ostracize us as if black men don't want to be fathers. Right. As much as any other race. That's a smack in the fucking face.
Yeah.
I don't have a homie, and we live in the age of social media, so I'm pretty sure I would know by now, that's doing any of his kids dirty. I know great fathers. I don't know any bums. If you a bum, you probably somebody I grew up with, I don't be around.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? I don't want
Yeah.
to say I don't know any, but like I don't hang with none of them.
Yeah.
I salute all of my homies that got kids. I love how they handle their
Well,
children.
sure, because a deadbeat dad is probably a deadbeat in a lot of other areas, and you
Absolutely.
probably wouldn't hang
Wouldn't
out
hang out with
them.
somebody that's
Exactly.
just corny and doesn't have
Yeah.
the proper values and life skills. But at the same time, I also only have less than a handful of homies whose mother and dad are still together, or who have good relationships with their fathers.
Right.
So, a lot of our generation is the change they want to see, and a lot of their the despair, the disruption in their family came from what we were just talking about.
Absolutely.
Things that was systematically set up to separate us. So our generation had to fight hard as fuck in this city where men lose damn near everything in the motherfucking family court to even have a relationship with their kids. They've been fighting for that shit. You see what I'm saying? So you can't say that they don't give a fuck when everybody got a headache. I'd be in jail if I went through some of the shit my homies went through. I'd have hurt somebody.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Or I'd have raised enough hell that somebody would have bought something to me and I'd have had to deal with it. Because you're not going to make me fight for mine. That's not kosher. It's not decent. Whatever language you speak it in, like, that's not what it is. And I'm not trying to be smart. But, it's one of those things where it's like, that come from me. He better off with me than without me, no matter what. And life is life. We all go through ebbs and flows. Just because I ain't got a couple of eyes this week, this month, whatever have you, don't mean that my child need to miss me.
It's so crazy that you
That's
said
weird
that.
as shit.
It's so crazy. As I was thinking, as I was driving on my way here, I was just thinking of how important it is for children to have a father, right? Because although
Right
I
after
think
Father's Day.
yeah, and it wasn't even
She in the mood.
it had nothing to do with Father's Day. No, it really
Nah,
had
I'm
nothing to
fucking
do
with
with
you.
Father's Day. I have 2 sons, and I was just thinking, I think I'm so tough, right? I think I'm just so hard. But when I see how my husband interacts with them, and I just see how he reinforces what I like, I set the precedence, but then he reinforces it, and I realize that they absolutely need that masculinity. They need a father figure. Like I can't imagine them not having it. Like they would be a little more
He's an
wayward.
example. If you don't know how your father would react to something, then you're gonna react like your mother would.
Yep.
If a fly or a bee jumps in the car, you're gonna see a little boy flailing around in the back seat.
I flail around when I'm.
But no, but listen, in a lot of families, your father is checking you for that. You see what I'm saying? And you're going to control that, especially around people.
Right.
Like, even if your natural reaction is to do that, your father will set that, yo, relax, roll the window down, kill it. It's smaller than you. Stinging, you ain't allergic. You know what I mean? Those things where mom might be partying with you, y'all about to crash the fucking car together, yo.
Yeah, it's true.
Y'all gonna crash the car together. Y'all going into the wall.
So silly.
Yeah, well, it's like a nurture thing, right? I think that even if you want to talk about like hate, the concept of hate, right? Like that's nurtured.
Absolutely.
That's a learned behavior, and it is taught to people by probably primarily their parents or an older sibling.
You know the sad part about it? They're teaching it to them to give them confidence.
Right.
They're teaching
Sure.
them hate to build their confidence.
Yeah. And I think that
That's crazy.
And one of my bartenders that works here, we've had this conversation before. She said that when a child is like really young, you have to tell little kids, no, we don't take from other people, or no, we don't hit. Like you teach people you teach children how to act, and you don't teach, and you should not teach children how to hate, and you should show kids like how to love, and it can be harder for a single parent because maybe that child is then open or looking for like more voices to learn from than just one. So it's I think it's imperative to have involvement in like your children's lives from both parents if possible.
Absolutely.
Just so they can have multiple voices nurturing their growth and nurturing like these values that would that so many people in our country apparently were not nurtured with, apparently,
I think what's also
obviously.
45.
what's also missed, I think what's also missed a lot of the times is the part that the kids can play too.
Sure.
Like my mom always made me aware that my younger cousins, my god brother, whoever have you, look up to you. They try to do everything you do. Be aware of what you do around them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't grind them up like I would grind my friends up because they're not really there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Where a lot of my snappiness came from being grinded up by a sister that was 4 years older than me.
Right.
She was going through her phase of, you know what I mean, learning how to be a smart ass. I was the victim. You know what I mean? So then I learned at an early age to always have a rebuttal.
That explains a lot.
Exactly. I've done a lot of introspection on my life, man. I care about why the fuck I'm crazy.
So
But
then in turn, I
like-
get what you get. So she gave it to you, you gave it
I
to
give
me.
it to the people.
Oh.
I ain't got no.
So
pick.
don't feel. Oh, I
I
don't
ain't
feel
got no
slighted.
picks.
Everybody got some of
No,
that.
you know what's
Okay.
crazy? This how
Okay.
I operate. This how I operate. If I don't fuck with you, then I don't fuck with you.
I got
If I
that.
fuck with you a lot, then that's because I really fuck with you. Because I don't open that door for people I don't fuck with. Because you, like you say, certain people can say certain things to you because they have that. You have understanding. But if you say something to me and I really don't fuck with you, I'm not even going to try to understand it. I'm jumping out there. So I don't even open that door for people. If they open it, I'm always shocked. Like, you really want to do that? That's hilarious. And then when I get past it being amusing, it's a problem.
Right.
But with my people, we could shoot all night. I'll even bow out and say, "Yo, you won tonight. You killed it." Like I don't care. You know what I mean? But you know, and there's still lines with that. But it's always certain people that I just don't open that. So if I fuck with you, I fuck with you. But we've been rambling. Good conversation. Great conversation.
I had a really
I'm
good conversation.
I'm way
nice.
more comfortable with you owning the Barbary now.
Thank you.
He was joking beforehand saying he was anxious about what was about to happen. He killed that part. I was worried about what he was going to do with this space. The whole time I'm like, what kind of person we got taking over the spot we love so
man,
much?
You can
But
always
I'm very
know
comfortable
that,
with you. I'm excited about you having me.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna talk to you more in the future. I love to be a resource for you. If
100%.
You could, think anything
Likewise.
that I can help with. But after this conversation, I'm really, really excited to see what you do with this space.
Thank you so much.
We've seen what we can't show y'all. We've seen renovations, the stages. We've seen third floor things going on.
So can we get into that? Can we
We've
have just
seen
a
a
few
lot.
minutes just
You
to
wanna
get into
give
what
a
your vision,
little overview of
what your vision is, or
Exactly.
Oh man. Okay.
I
Fine.
wanted to get into that just a little
Exactly.
bit.
I guess. Okay. This is gonna be the first.
Inquiring minds want to know.
this is
I
gonna
need
be
the
And just give us what we
exclusive.
can, right?
Okay.
You know, just give us what you
All
can.
right. This is the first public thing. Okay. It will be better flow, less bottlenecks.
If you know the Barbary, you know what he's talking about.
The bathrooms will be clean and glorious and beautiful, and gender neutral.
Oh, you're gonna have to mop up a lot in gender neutral
And-
bathrooms.
And the layout will be more open. You'll have more room and space to dance. The
'Cause you're a dancing man.
the air conditioning will be leaps, and it will be light years ahead of what it is now.
I'm looking at the new system right now. He got the new cool shit on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The temperature will be cooler and more consistent. The bathrooms will be glorious. There will be no bottlenecks. It will be cleaner. It will be like nicer. It will be slightly less divey. Some people love that the Barbary is a dive, but I'll be honest, like a lot of the things that made it a dive were also incredibly unsafe. Like incredibly unsafe. And I spent many, many months working with Elle and I to make this place safer, and it is.
Salute.
People used to joke that the floors were going to collapse. They're not going to collapse. But ultimately, everything that I'm doing, the one thing that will always remain consistent about the Barbary is that it will always be a place that you can come, dance, be yourself, no dress code. Just come, be yourself, have fun. I don't care who you are, what you are, how you identify, what you look like. I don't really care as long as you
come have
dance.
fun. Have a good time.
And yeah, that's it. As long as you come to have fun and you don't act like an asshole, like, we're good.
And tip your fucking bartenders. That's something that I'm going to always tell y'all. Tip your bartenders. And if you want to promote, make sure that you tell your crowd we buying the bar the fuck out one way or another, man, because one thing for sure, two things for certain, is not a lot of smaller venues that we have access to. And if you book these motherfucking venues for shows, you got to show something other than your mom and them came. Like, they can't pay for your party. They don't want to do it. It's not beneficial to them. They better off being closed than paying for your party. So make sure that you come correct. If you need to learn how to do so, hit up Font Productions. She has consultations. You can hit me up. I can figure some shit out with you, put you in the right direction, tell you what you need to do at a cost. At a cost, because I'm sick of speaking for free. You motherfuckers don't appreciate it.
After talking to him for a while, he's probably really worth it.
I appreciate that.
I'll be honest.
I appreciate that. But I really, like I said, man, salute to you. Congratulations. I look forward to being at the ribbon cutting or the bottle breaking or whatever we doing to celebrate the grand reopening of the situation.
I'll tell you something. I don't even think I'm going to have even when COVID allows us to open, I'm just going to be like, hey, we're open.
We're open?
That's it.
Well, let me know when those nights are. And like I said, I ain't rushing right out as soon as they say we can go right out.
Yeah, I know, right?
But I'll be there soon after to support you.
I can't wait. I don't know when it'll be,
I
but
got you. And
when it is,
we might be able to make it a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be dope, man. I'm excited about you having.
We'll have two outdoor areas.
Oh, say
wow.
that.
I think that's a pretty big,
That's
awesome
cool.
thing that we
Yeah.
just
Say that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have like an upper deck and a backyard beer garden.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
he's
Look at that.
snapping.
Yes.
There, you heard it here
I'm
first.
excited. I'm
right
hyped.
here.
Snapping.
I'm hype.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that'll be pretty awesome.
That is dope.
No, that's ill, man. We appreciate you coming on the set with us, man. Having us in your space. I always call it we really in the war room right now. We really in the situation room. I always say it's the situation room. Things are getting situated
This
in
is
here.
definitely the situation room. All the
And-
rooms we'd have been, this is the situation room.
And it's funny because you look at this wall and you see what's going on. You know this about to be a whole thing. But you got to see what I see and what I know these spaces become. And also, a lot of you motherfuckers never been to the club in the daytime. Let's keep it real. So, like, I know what the club
they look a lot different in the daytime than they do at
They
night.
look a lot different in the daytime.
If
When
you
the
don't
lights go
know.
out, a lot of shit gets hidden.
If you don't know.
So I'm really excited about the improvements, like you said, that you had to make because you wanted it to be comfortable. You wanted to be a respectable business owner, and that's what we respect.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep, safety and inclusiveness.
before we get out of here, I want Saf to give you a little background on her platform and what she does.
Sure. So what I have is a positive platform magazine, On the Scene magazine. As many of our followers know and our viewers know, it's a positive platform lifestyle magazine. So we cover everything from a positive perspective. So we have music, sports, fashion, entertainment, education, just everything from a positive perspective. So I'm sure there's a way that we can work the Barbary into On the Scene magazine. So
Yep,
we'll
please.
make sure that you
Thank
get
you.
a part of that.
See, you ain't even know that. You ain't know you was sitting next to him. You see what I'm saying? I'm just bringing it out on him. No, but I'm proud of her, and she has a great platform, and I feel like that's important for you to know because, like I said, when you're thinking of these things, you know,
Yes, you have definitely
Sometimes
some
you
outlets
need
and
certain
resources for sure.
plugs for
Great.
it. So just let us know what's going on, but let people know how to contact you for, I don't know, jobs, opportunities, business, or whatever have you. Let them know how to get in contact with you. Email or whatever have you, Instagram.
I would say we, by design, do not have a phone number here. So I would say
I figured that.
I would say just DM the Barbary's Instagram or Facebook page, and either myself or Kristen or Gina will reply, and we can chat. And we're open to a great many things. Shark Tanks in the floor, no, but everything else we're open to.
And what's the handle? Let them know where you can find what those pages are.
Instagram is at @the_Barbary, and Facebook is just the Barbary.
All right, Saf, your turn.
So you can follow me and you can catch me on thescenemagazine.com for all of your latest and your greatest from a positive perspective.
And You can catch this every Thursday at 4 p.m. on every platform. We run happy hour. You can also catch me on Flyboy Friday Radio on Glocawear Radio every Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. We rocking out with the best happy hour in the world on the greatest station in the nation, I swear. Check out my projects, man. Speaking of I swear the EP is out now.
Check it
Let's
out.
Talk About It. The album is out now on every major platform. We just upgraded all the distribution situation. So just keep up with us, man. I appreciate y'all. And I am at Sippin with Sammie because I am Sippin with Sammie. Barstool Rug. If you ain't sipping with Sammie, you ain't sipping right. Get your fucking life together. And check out the Barbary when it comes back. I'll probably be in there. You can sip with Sammie and that bitch.
Check us out.
I might not be there when they be there, but if I am, they
but
can
we in the building. Yo.
Say that, Si.
You know I don't give a fuck at all. I ain't nothing like you niggas. Let's talk about work hard for my fingers. Let's talk about Philly, them some real niggas that you talking about. So what you talking about, nigga? What you talking about? I ain't nothing like you niggas. Let's talk about work hard for my fingers. Let's talk about Philly, them some real niggas that you talking about. So what you talking about, nigga? What you talking about? My city, yeah, Philly, feel me, not a game, really silly answers get you box packed in. What's happening? Dangerous world's this world. We wrapped in, money got us 10 toes grounded till it counts in. But till your weight heats up, you go cool off. Me and money bags tear down malls, test drive cars. Get grub, grab dots, then back to the block. Serve weed players simultaneous with those you rock. Couple Chevys, stash spot was heavy. Fast cops on foot chase, firemen on the roof say a nigga roofed it, can't find it, they ruthless. Tryna find something to get high from, or shoot with. I ain't nothing like you niggas. Let's talk about work hard for my fingers. Let's talk about Philly, them some real niggas that you talking about. So what you talking about, nigga? What you talking about? I ain't nothing like you niggas. Let's talk about work hard for my fingers. Let's talk about Philly, them some real niggas that you talking about. So what you talking about, nigga? What you talking about? Next day, wake up to bad news. Other homie lost his life making a bad move. A bad dude, he never let me down once. Started from the ground up, started out as pound pups. Cause I'm until we got pounds up, and the town was a nigga favorite jump, so we getting it in. Now my nigga moved on, I'm disgusted. Gotta move along cause these niggas I ain't trusting. Life you cut from the cloth that we cut from. Won't argue, guns bustin' for pain and self-driving. Over loved ones, what the fuck we discuss, son? Mama's parade is nothing, we got them drums in.